Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the north corner of the map playing in yellow, we've got Beastyqt playing as the Abbasid dynasty, and his opponent in the south playing in blue, we've got puppypaw playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Welcome everyone to Cliffside. Hope you guys are having a great morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We're going to having a cracking game today. Two of the very best players in the world for Age of Empires 4, of course, and also two great civilizations in the HRE and Abbasid Dynasty on a great map as well, I've got to say. One of my favourite maps in Age of Empires because it's got a lot of, well, I guess lots of different playstyles can happen on it. You've got the initial aggression that can happen right through the middle, and as the game does wear on, you can start to wall that on up and start to play for the mid to late game, which is going to be interesting on this civilization matchup. Two civs that do kind of prioritize the later ages and later stages of gameplay in Age of Empires 4, especially the Abbasid Dynasty. They do have a great late game, especially when they think about getting multiple town centers. Now, actually, that kind of style of play has crept itself into the Holy Roman Empire as well. Often thought as being a heavy castle age civilization. Recently, with marching drills, it's given them sort of a new way, a new perspective to actually play the civilization. Can often go for an extended feudal age, play two town centers. It doesn't seem like a massive upgrade. The marching drills gives it infantry an extra movement speed. But actually taking fights can be really nice for the HRE. They can dictate the terms of engagements, and that can sometimes, entice them to go for an extended feudal age with a second town centre. Not even that, not necessarily having to go for a second town centre, but against the Abbasid dynasty it's probably worthwhile. Bearing in mind as well, when you do have an extended feudal age, it's not all about military, it is about the economy as well, and the HRE have got that in abundance. With the Ark and Chapel being built, and the Prelate with the 40% buffering on villager gather rate, it is such a strong economy unit for the HRE. Whilst the Abbasid dynasty do get cheaper town centres with the eco wing, in fact it's going to open up with the miniature wing in any case. I mean, the great thing about the Abbasid dynasty, they did get fresh foodstuffs, right? So they're cheaper villagers, so it does make it a little bit easier to scale well with the second town centre. And that can be pretty powerful in and of itself, so it's kind of interesting how these two players battle it out. With the miniature wing opening, going to be looking to pile on a little bit of pressure, get a couple of units on the map for free. A very commonly chosen route to get to the feudal age for the Abbasid dynasty. Especially with the little distance between the two players, it's not particularly huge. The two spearmen and the two archers that do spawn for the Abbasid dynasty from the miniature wing will actually get across the map pretty quickly. Having said that, the age up for the HRE is incredibly fast at times. You can see it's going to get there to the next stage a lot quicker than the Abbasids. And that means if he does spot the miniature wing opening, possibly an archery range could be placed and should be well defended against any early aggression. Now, I would like to say, and take this opportunity to say, a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you. The growth has been great on YouTube recently. I'm super excited about it. I'm definitely going to be casting a lot more Age of Empires 4. We're not going anywhere. And what I would say, if you have been enjoying the content, maybe you've seen 3 or 4 casts in this particular channel, it might be worth, dropping a subscription, because clearly you'd be enjoying the content. You wouldn't want to miss one, right? But yeah, certainly I've made a different shift in terms of my approach in terms of uploads. Whilst it will be pretty much daily, I'm only going to be casting or uploading the best casts that I do. I'm not going to be uploading the ones that I think actually aren't that interesting. That means that every video you do click on is going to be a banger. Plenty of stone coming on in for the HRE, so definitely shifting the motivation towards a second town centre. Doing that quick time as well. Holy moly, 11 villages on that. I gotta say, the timing on the second town centre of the HRE can be super fast. Understandable considering the Ark and Chapel. Jeez, the foundation placed at 4.5 minutes. That is intense. I mean, it's hard to match with any civil. I think that's probably the fastest you can get, actually. And it makes a lot of sense when you factor in the Prelate getting the 40% buffering on the gather rate of those villagers. Incredibly powerful. Placing the town centre very close to home, and the miniature wing units not able to deny it either, and might even lose a little bit of HP if the villager's garrison inside. Doesn't bother though, puppypaw. It wants to go straight over to gold. I'm kind of curious to see what puppypaw decides to do behind this. Does it go for a fast castle? Could be considered a little bit greedy, but we'll have to see. I mean, the question is as well whether we have enough food to do so, because there aren't that many. I mean, there's a decent number of sheep to be fair, but I'm not so sure it's got enough to sustain him. And even if he does get to the cast stage with the Vengeance Cathedral potentially, will he be able to afford units to back that tech up and protect those relics? Wait a minute. Hold the phone. Beastie, setting couple of units, well, archers, of course, and sending villagers as well. He's going for an outpost rush. I'm going to sneak the berries, too. I guess he says, if you're not going to use it, I will. Okay, we're sending 2 villagers to get an outpost, and wait, does puppypaw not see? I mean, he sees this. Question is, how does he react to it? He doesn't have any units, so he can't really, can he? Like, there's 3 archers. There's a spearman, too. And he's added in that arch range very quickly behind this. So he's going to add in a second town center a little bit later here for the abbasids, but he's putting some pressure. I quite like it. Wait a minute, there's a ram! Holy smokes! Okay, we've seen this a couple of times before. I think 3DB was probably one of the first players to do this that I can remember from the pro player scene. I'm sure there might have been a couple of others beforehand. But this is going to be a really interesting opening already on Cliffside. The ram rush opening. And I guess he's going to try and stall things out as much as he possibly can for puppypaw's economy. Taking down a house for free, most likely. And, I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? Because he's got the 1-up with the units already on the field. It's not something that puppypaw can really challenge at this point. And the kind of great thing about it is it's going to force puppypaw into static defenses, spend wood where he perhaps didn't want to. He has no choice now. Going to have to keep that wood line safe and secure. Ram takes out the first house, and now it's going to start working on the mining camp. Just going to cause some pressure, right? I mean, the question is, how much pressure and damage can he really do? The 2 town centers already running for puppypaw, with the outpost going on with arrow slits as well. It really does limit things, and so this outpost is a really nice spot, right? He wants to protect that wood line heavily. Could potentially need to get another outpost around the west side, but we'll see if he feels the need to. And there's that outpost. Getting arrow slits himself as well. Gets a couple of torches out, but the archer's quick to try and pounce on that. He's causing a decent amount of idle time as well. Back at home though, the second town center placed pretty close to home as well. Curiously, is on stone. I don't know. I mean, he could play this super greedy and go for a 3rd town center. It's not unheard of with the Abbasid dynasty, especially with fresh foodstuffs, right? It's such a nice upgrade that you get. The more town centers you get, the better value you get out of it. He's opting for man-at-arms, just to tank against the ranged units. He's going to be using the prelate too. Nicely done, actually. I do love to see that healing mechanic. A couple of civilizations have a similar sort of thing. You know, you've got chivalry for the French Royal Knights. You've got the Delhi scholars doing the same sort of thing, and Scout going to be working on this. Bear in mind, though, I mean, the kind of concern for Beastie and the Abbasids is, of course, the HRE get emergency repairs, right? So, you know, puppypaw won't be sweating this all that much. He doesn't really have to worry about it too much, because he will be getting emergency repairs to heal out on up, and it will be a 3rd town center here for Beastie. He's going for it. Right, definitely an off-meta play. We haven't, to be fair though, we haven't seen the civilization matchup in a long time. But it's definitely something different than what we're used to. Going for the back gold for now. That forward gold being denied somewhat by the outpost, of course. We're pairing up that ram there, Beastie. Now I'm kind of curious to see what the cast stage times will be for both players. The great thing about fresh foodstuffs is that adding extra town centers, it really softens the blow in terms of food costs needed for villager production. Of course, each villager obviously will pay back for itself very quickly. I like this move though, go for the farms, because you can't really use emergency repairs on it, right? So at least he's getting some damage out of this ram. Although, he needs to be careful, there's no military here for Beastie. Wait, oh no, this could be an oversight. He might be losing this ram for free. I think he does. He must have been focusing on the macro back at home. He does get the second farm though, to be fair. And considering a farm, you know, it's not cheap, right? 75 wood. I mean, I don't hate it. Like, a ram costs 200 wood. So 75 times 2, quick maths, 150. It's a 50 deficit, but, you know, it's causing problems, and it's limiting the amount of food that he gets in as well. Having said that, though, he's getting the deer camp around the back, so he's probably quite happy about that. Starting to wall up. I love these walls, by the way. 2 deer camps behind it. Really nice, safe and secured. Also has the boar that he could potentially sneakily take, especially if he gets the gate there, right? He can place a mill, try to take the boar, and if he is under pressure, he can just go through the gate. No problem at all. No worries. Puppypaw, though, going to be going for Steeled Arrow, so looking to really play that extended feudal age. It looks like Beastie might be edging towards Castle Age, though, considering the food bank he's got, and gold as well. That little bit of initial aggression, just forcing Puppypaw to make some units, and allowing Beastie to get the static defenses and the walls up, just to make sure he benefits from that 3rd town center as much as possible. I mean, ultimately the game plan here for Beastie's got to be about delaying Puppypaw being aggressive, making sure he gets as many villagers as quickly as possible. But I gotta say, like, you know, having that second town center so fast for puppypaw, it meant that his villager count really escalated. Like, he's still ahead, right? Despite it being, you know, up against 3 town centers, this one only just been placed, really. So we'll see. I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone watching on Twitch, by the way. So welcome on in. Just detailing cars and watching your stream. Nice, as an audiobook. Well, welcome on in. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you have some fun detailing those cars. I think after the game, we got to talk about that. You got to tell me more. I am a bit of a car enthusiast, so that's going to be cool to hear about if you're still around at that point. Welcome on in, everyone. To get the castle age, it's going to be the economic wing for the Abbasids, and it's putting plenty of static defenses and outposts as well. But ultimately at this point, it's really down to puppypaw trying to kill as many villagers as possible, and Beasty trying to survive with many as possible. Because, I mean, with 3 town centers, he has to buy time. And I do love the addition of the outpost. I'm not so sure about this with puppypaw. I mean, sure, he's got Iron Undermesh, and sure, these are man-at-arms, but he's going to lose a fair few, right? This has been fully upgraded. I think he has to back away from this. I don't think this works. Either way, behind this, yeah, he's going to back away. He's going to lose 1 or 2 man-at-arms, maybe 2, yeah. And that's a bit rough there. And villagers will come out and repair. Maybe even a third one there. Just about sneaks away with it. But it's going to be the Burggraf Palace. Oh, I don't know about this one. I mean, he's going to look to maybe see the game out and try to punish that 3rd town centre. I guess in a way it works because you don't really want that 3rd town centre to be, you know, left alone. But the Regulus Cathedral is so powerful as a landmark. Feels like he might be missing out. Especially because he's already got 1 barracks, right? We'll see. Especially if he does damage, then, I mean, that's what's really going to be making it pay for itself, right? If he does damage. Speaking of damage, going around the back, picking off a couple of villages in that wood line. No outpost here. Beasty, wait, he's not reacting with the villagers on the wood line. Oh, no, this is not great for him at all. Beasty, he's not spotted it. Beasty. Oh, no. He's going to lose quite a few here. That's a disaster. I mean, this could be the game. I mean, oh, he's not reacting at all. By the time he does, only 3 remain, and man, that was painful. That was really bad for him. That really nullifies that 3 town center play for Beasty. And these are the 2 villages on the front line as well. Sacrificing the archers. Puppypaw. No problem at all with that. I mean, it almost felt like he dropped from the game or something. Really uncharacteristic. You know, top players like this, you expect their, I mean, you don't expect them. Their reaction times are a lot better than that. It must have been distracted with something else. But at least he's got the castle age, he's got the tech up. And he will eventually catch up on villagers. But bear in mind, like, it's not just the fact that he's got 10 extra villagers. These villagers are working overtime. 40% gather rate on these ones on the farms, at least with the Ark and Chapel. To be fair, these villagers here on the woodline, just your standard regular villagers. But considering, you know, the counteracting thing for the House of Wisdom and the Golden Age is only the tier 1, 15%. So he's got it, to be fair. So, you know, it's a decent way to try and claw back some of that. How's it going, Packer? Hope you're doing well, buddy, on Twitch chat. Welcome on in. Barracks being added as well. So possibly Gulam play? It's got to be, really. Maybe Gulam crossbows is the way for Beasty. Now, at this point, no player getting those relics just yet. Speaking of relics, by the way, I mean, there's a really nice one in the back here for Beasty. A decent one here for Puppypaw. The others pretty much relatively equidistant, maybe favouring Beasty a little bit closer to his walls. Speaking of walls, he's really getting a lot of them. Going to try and torch them down now, Puppypaw. I think really for Beasty, it's got to be about delaying the game as much as possible, right? That absolute massacre on that wood line has really set him back. But the game's not over. If there's a player that can kind of come back from this sort of position, it would be Beasty. Should get maybe a villager pick off on the woodline. He does. Going to be starting to build those mangonels on the field, which is great for the Abbasids. It's possibly his one way to claw himself back into the game. It's going to be a ram out of the HRE. Planning on streaming later this evening? I mean, to be fair, this is evening for me. At the moment, it's like 11 o'clock almost in the at night. So, probably not, I'm afraid. I will be streaming tomorrow most likely, though, so. The Abbasids good nowadays? They're decent. I mean, they've always been pretty good. I don't think they've ever really fallen out of favour. Since the recent Sultans and DLC, of course, we've had the Ayyubids that have kind of taken over a little bit, and like as the new civilization on the block, and of course it's a variant civ. So, but I think the Bass has always been pretty good. Oh, good mangonel shot though for Beasty. If there's a way to claw himself back into the game, that's it. Now bear in mind, the military for the Abbasid will be really strong. Like, he did open up with the military wing, so should have boot camp. He's got it. Doesn't have composite bows. To be fair, I'm not surprised by that. I think archers, they're great for the Abbasids generally, but overall in this matchup is a tough one, right? Because the HRE go man-at-arms. And I think even with composite bows, these man-at-arms are so tanky, they're so strong. It feels like it's not really feasible to go archers as the Abbasids. And we'll see if Beastyqt decides to take into that later on, but I suspect it won't, because if you don't take into it early on, archers generally by their nature, they don't really hold their weight in the late game. So I don't think we'll be seeing any Abbasid Dynasty archers, especially in this matchup. Around the back, a couple of units being hidden there by puppypaw, which Beastyqt has to be actually really careful about, by the way. He's got to be really careful, and he recognizes it. He's going to respect it. He's going to send some crossbowmen back, and just as well, because, you know, these guys can come to bite you in the back at any time, just like they did at the woodline earlier. That's a lot of man-at-arms now. Holy smokes. Especially up against the Burgrove plate. Oh, it could be Wallalow. I mean, I don't think it'll work really, right? Surely not. Yeah, there we go. Punch the bag, just go composite crossbows. Well, I mean, it doesn't affect crossbows, right? Unless they change that. Yeah, just the archers. So the attack speed only affects the archers. Now we'll look to clear up those man-at-arms. Going to be looking to wall up here on the right side. Beastyqt a bit paranoid, of course. He's been broken through on the walls here, making sure that he's going to try and get that eco as safe as possible. So now it's puppypaws to start getting the rams on in. Beastyqt, though, great play by getting 2 of the relics so far. Now, of course, he's not up against the Regnus Cathedral, but this is more about getting gold for the Abbasids. I love the fact that it's got siege. Like, they're very prized units. A couple of these can stave off a massive infantry army. I've got to say, the man-at-arms, you know, they're not that scared about mangonels. I mean, yeah, sure, okay, you don't really want to go up against 3 of them. But if you can gap close and take them out, he'll be fine, puppypaw. Bear in mind, he does have marching drills as well, so they are quick on their feet. Good number of crossbows there for Beastyqt. Crossbow, mangonel defense, adding in a couple of golems as a meat shield. It's always a nice approach. Going on the right side is going to take out that 3rd town centre, which is actually kind of huge because puppypaw is actually ahead on villagers. Oh, massive farming transition required out of Beastyqt here, and that's going to take some time for the food to escalate. And let's go over to check on how much he's getting per minute, actually. Yeah, this is the power of the Ark and Chapel, by the way. The farms here, they're doing so much work. AO's on the ball as well, with survival techniques, which certainly helps. Survival techniques, tech from the mill. That increases the gathering of that meat. You can see how little damage the mangonels actually kind of did to those man-at-arms. A bit dicey here for Beastyqt, I've got to say. He's being pressurized on the west side, forcing down the outposts. Good thing he's got 2 there. He needs them. Man-at-arms diving on in. This is actually kind of troublesome for Beastyqt. He's finding it difficult to stop the bleeding. He's losing a couple of production, and he doesn't really have the food coming on in. Here's the farming transition, coming at possibly the worst possible time, but he needed to, right? Oh, villagers haven't been able to complete the wall on the back, and this is always going to be a pain in his backside, really. Hard to deal with. 3 mangonels. Man-at-arms going to charge on in. Oh, this is kind of... I mean, I think he died. No, he's not going to bother. There's too many crossbows, to be fair. Down in the middle, though, he's definitely diving in there. Ram going to take out the 2nd archery range, which doesn't seem like it's a dreadful thing, but when you factor in Beastyqt generally overall struggling for resources, you know, he won't want to have to try and build more ranges if possible. Mangonel deploys, sniping villages left, right, and centre. Beastyqt lost 26 out total. 3 town centres was possibly a little bit too greedy. Is being made to, he's definitely being punished. Man-at-arms on the west side, they don't even care about the outpost at this point. He's got wedge rivets as the the ranged attack upgrade as the defense. It's so strong with it, and he's going to even lose this capital. Wait. It's the 2nd town centre. It's the 2nd town centre. But yeah, going to be pushed down to 1 TC, which is not great. Especially with the HRE currently at 2. He's developed a villager lead, but Beastyqt, to be fair, having lost 29 villagers, his villager lead count is still pretty healthy. All things considered. He's getting the 2nd melee attack upgrade for the Gulam. In fact, it's the 1st one, actually. Bloomery. Kind of assumed that he had it already, but he didn't. The static defense is actually putting a good amount of work here for Beasty, just delaying the mana tiles trickling on in, getting a couple of hits as well with the crossbows, which is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to thin down the numbers of these mana tiles, otherwise it's starting to overwhelm. Like, the production here for the Burger of Palace is absolutely huge, and yeah, he had great work getting the relics, but his relics are out of that mask and he can't get gold from it now. Still got a decent amount of gold in the bank anyway, and look at this behind this. Whilst all the actions at the base, look what puppypaw is up to. He's got 3 of the relics off the map, and he's getting a forward position, massive forward position. That's going to be really difficult to break. I mean, he's got 2 outposts, a keep. He might be actually start to think about, you know, does he want to go to the Imperial Age puppypaw? But this kind of cool thing about the HRE now is that whilst we often see the Palace of Swabia, I don't think we'll see it today. Because of the fact that he's got so many villagers, he doesn't need any more. It wouldn't make sense to get it, I don't think. I think it's got to be the elves back, which is going to be kind of fun to watch. He does lose the relic though. The prelate dies a painful death to the mangonels. He was trying to do a bit of a smash and grab. Beasty exits with 1 of the relics, goes around the back, and gets 2 mosques around the back. And bear in mind, puppypaw might not just start to get the sacred sites. Why not? Get as much gold as he can at this point. Getting more stone as well, so possibly some upgrades to the outpost. We'll see. Maybe another keep if he can afford it soon. What I was kind of curious is that puppypaw could think about going to the Imperial Age. Now, whilst he could just go for the cheaper tech up with the Palace of Swabia, even though he may not use that, it makes a lot of sense to pay a bit more resources and go for the elves back. It's a great static defense for the HRE, and it will be the elves back, of course, in the middle of the map on that sacred site, so should capture that next. And puppypaw in a really good spot. I mean, came down to some nuances. I mean, a great ram rush opening. The game isn't technically over just yet, and I wouldn't be, you know, I wouldn't put it past Beasty to come back into it, especially with plays like this. You try to get keep on the sneaky side on the west side, has been denied. Beasty kept a clean eye, and he spotted it, but around the back, this is a bit of a problem. There's nothing here. Oh no, he's definitely going to lose more villagers here, Beasty. God, they're absolutely disintegrating. Does have 3 mangonels. Puppypaw though, he's not going to take the bait. Doesn't have to engage if he doesn't want to, and the kind of crazy thing, the marching drills is really, really powerful. I mean, they can gap close, but they can also really make a run for it, right? You can't, it's high, you can't really chase them. But there's that Imperial Age with Beasty kind of stuck in the castle stage for now, although he might click that button to go to the next stage soon. He's got to find a way to deal with these man at arms. I wonder what way he's going to go. I mean, it's got to be the culture wing, right? Surely. Yeah, got to be the culture wing. Get preservation of knowledge, and that at least will help him get that power spike into the Imperial Age a little bit better, with the technologies being cheaper with preservation of knowledge. Of course, we'll have to see what he does. The only problem is with the abbasids, you can't really speed up the tech up timing. You just click it on the House of Wisdom and it takes as long as it takes. And if he does spend all his resources, it might leave him a little bit vulnerable to making more army if he does lose this one, which hopefully he won't want to. I mean, he's going to try and take a lot of these units out with the mangonel. Good mangonel, great mangonel shots. I mean, Maritams are tanky, but 3 mangonels getting so much value. And puppypaw, he's starting to regroup around in the middle, recover and go back and get those all-important upgrades. Starting to get the trebuchets. And if he does keep the trebuchets protected, I mean, yeah, I mean, the Abbasid Dynasty base is going to be under siege quite heavily. It's like Beasty kind of struggling for gold, actually, I've got to say. It has to be on this west side, but this is only 1 gold vein he has access to. Trying to get hold of this one here, but, you know, puppypaw has got it safe and secure with a keep in a good spot. Beasty, they're trying to raid around the back, and one thing that's kind of good for Beasty in a way is that the HRE, when they've got the Palace of Swabia, is a civilization that's almost impossible to raid to death. But he's not up against the Palace of Swabia. And so Beasty maybe has an opportunity. If he can get some good villager kills, maybe there's a way back into the game. The Owl's back has got a relic inside of it, making it an absolute defensive powerhouse. A real big struggle for Beasty to try and push that back. He's getting another mangonel, and he's definitely under pressure. The momentum certainly with puppypaw. Oh, this is a good raid though. This could be his way back into the game potentially. He's definitely getting some good value. He's got to do more. Starting to get those rams. I mean, would you even consider a landmark snipe? That'd be kind of funny. I mean, let's think about it. I mean, maybe not, because the owl's back, right? That's the one. That's the big thorn in the backside. Except that it's on the front side, because it's right on the front of the map. But where he's fighting. He's certainly going to look to do some damage here. Take some farms out, maybe. Take some villagers for sure. Villager death rate. Death count starting to escalate, especially with the mangonels. I mean, if the mangonels can deploy on the farms, could take a lot of them out, but the man-at-arms are coming back really quickly for puppypaw. Does take a bit of a hit, but we'll see how much more he takes, because well, there's a lot of man-at-arms. Emergency repairs coming out from the town centre. Gulams are torching what they can. This is possibly the big push that Beastie needs, but it's got to make it count with 2 mangonel, 1 mangonel actually there for puppypaw. It's going to be tricky with the culverins and springals, while those man-at-arms don't even need to engage the mangonels. He's got his own siege here, puppypaw, and while taking that siege is massive, Beastie, he hasn't been able to sustain a big push. He has to kind of retreat this army. He doesn't have enough here in this one spot. Overall though, he does have good numbers and he's raiding heavily on around the back. I mean, he's got 86 military. They're not all quite there in the front, but I mean, they're still doing damage, right? One thing I love about this is that, sure, Beastie is getting some value, but the bigger point about keeping the army in this position is forcing puppypaw to stay at home. And the big deal about that is it allows Beastie to try and get semblance of his economy back. And I think actually in the end he went for trade wing. Is he trading? He is. Alright, I wasn't expecting that. The trade wing's a little bit iffy because of the trade route. It's kind of right through the middle danger zone. But hey, I mean, it sets them well up for the late game, I guess, in a way. To be fair, I mean, with good micro, he will start to thin these numbers down. Puppypaw, he split up the army, right? He didn't want to send everything, and maybe didn't send enough, or at least not the right type of units, but that's what he's got, really. Man-at-arms crossbows. Slowly but surely, I mean, Beastie's not too far away from this game. I just wonder, though, look at the... I mean, he's getting a farming transition now. Once that kicks in, look at the food income for Beastie, though. It is really caught up in a big way. Holy smokes. The way that Beastie does this is actually incredible. The way he survives. You know, I mean, this game looked over for a while. Beastie proves it otherwise. And you might lose quite a few of these crossbows here, but not without taking some man-at-arms with him. The villager repairing that mangonel is going to try and gap close and just... I mean, the good thing about the crossbows, they've gotten through to the minimum attack range for the mangonel. Could potentially body block it as well, but we'll see. No, still going to suffer some casualties. Either way, village around the back on the barriers had to vacate. Raiding a little bit with a couple of these... wait, those were Gulam, yeah. But it has been fought away. Venturing out onto the gold on the west side. Beastie still in the game, surprisingly enough, after what was a really kind of bad start. But look at the villager count. Death rate. He's actually killed 49 villagers. That's changed so quickly, but look at this siege death wall on the front. The big thing is that whilst Beastie can raid, it's starting to get to the position where the HRE are building up an army that's just almost impossible to stop, right? Got 2 mangonels, you've got 2 springles and a culverin and 2 bombards. Doesn't actually have that much in the way of infantry, but if the siege stays alive, that's the big deal. You start to move on out. I mean, he could potentially even go for a landmark snipe here. Bear in mind, the bastards only actually have 2 landmarks. So, yeah, I mean, this is always an option. Beastie needs to try and protect it as best he can. But, I mean, to be fair, despite having 2 landmarks, this one is a beefcake. Look at that. 17,000 HP on that bad boy. Trebuchet fighting off in the middle. We're heading to almost the 30th minute of the game. I mean, this is definitely heated up to be a banger. It's all coming down to who feels like they have a stronger late game. A couple of Landsknechte added in, just going up against infantry mass if they come out. And is adding more production, which you'd love to see. Which is great for, not so much, I mean, obviously for the production, but also looking to get the golden age tier, right? I think getting that tier 3 at this point has got to be important, especially when you're in the late game. You want the extra eco, you want the extra production rate. Going to be raiding once again on the farms, and I love the fact he's going for the Ark and Chapel farms because this is a big part of the economy, but it does have an outpost with a cannon emplacement. Going to make the raiding a little bit more tricky. Adding in hand cannoneers now. A premium unit for any civilization. But the big thing for Beastie, I think, he's going to run out of gold, right? Puppypaw has a lot of access on the right side. He's kept the units there for a long time, and speaking of gold, Beastie is being pushed away from gold. Has a bit of a bank of gold, but don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, hello, Beastie. These guys, they did not get the memo. Went a bit earlier. I mean, he's going to attack most of the man. He should take the man-at-arms down, to be fair. Lost a couple of villagers, but he needs to get back onto that gold ASAP. Down in the middle of the map. Wow, this is really becoming a big siege ball. Look at what he's got. Beastie's got to find a way to deal with the bombards. Otherwise, he's going to have to send some villagers to repair. How's it going making, Ivan? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Yeah, we're got some cracking games today between Beastie and Puppypaw. Looking forward to it. Alright, Beastie adding in some more town centers. Maybe more for static defenses more than anything. Or if he does get raided, hopefully he can boom back up. But bigger concern in his way at the moment is the siege taking his landmarks down. puppypaw not rushing into it just yet. Getting all these upgrades, getting elite army tactics for his infantry. Got plenty of siege already. Getting all those eco upgrades. But Beastie, he feels it's go time. Does have 3 culverins to be fair, so takes a good initial engagement. 4 culverins in fact. But with the static defenses here, without any emplacements on the front lines, but he's got the elves back, right? And Beastie can't really take this position. There's just way too many static defenses. He's going to take the fight in any case. Mangonels might deploy. He's starting to lose some culverins there. Mangonels get some good shots off. Mostly Gulam in the fight though. So they're pretty tanky. They could potentially get on top of this on the right side. Oh no, not this. Not this. Beastie's villages on gold. He's desperate for gold. Beastie's struggling. It's not so much, I mean, it's bad enough he's losing the villagers, but it's even worse that he's losing access to gold. But he might just get rid of all the siege. He takes out 1 mangonel, about to take a second, and he should take out all 3. And puppypaw losing the position in the middle, at least in terms of units. Overall, though, I mean, he's got the static defenses, right? It's going to be super hard to push, and the worst thing for him is that puppypaw is raiding from the west and the east, and he lost the access to gold. And Beastie, he's lost the game. A great game of Age of Empires 4. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.